My name is Nevaeh DeSouza. I am a junior here at Cal on the gymnastics team, and I'm studying social welfare. You go to the big meets and you're competing against like Simone Biles or Cindy Sully, like all of those crazy people. It's not anyone's like spot. Like the lineup isn't set, and so you have to prove yourself every day. I think that's what made our team do so well the next year, because we were all so appreciative to be back in the gym and doing gymnastics, and we were hungry for more.
I honestly miss it, because I've never had that and I probably won't.
There's no defense in gymnastics. Like, you just kind of do you. And I was like 11 competing against 18-year-olds. So
wow.
I think, of course, like we were good all season, and then we get to nationals, and my roommate tested positive for COVID.
My purpose in life is to leave my dent in the universe in absolutely everything I do, as well as to inspire and help others do the same. For someone to leave their dent in my life is a privilege. For me to leave my dent in someone else's life is an honor. But to inspire and help others leave their own dent in the universe is an indescribable feeling. I plan on doing this through this podcast by celebrating my guests and inspiring my listeners, all while leaving my own dent in the universe and helping others do the same. My name is Fer Andrade, and this is Denting.
I'm excited.
All right, perfect. Let's do it. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Denting. My name is Fernando Andrade. I'm your host, and today I have a very special guest with me, Nevaeh DeSouza. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Very good. I'm very excited to have you. I've been looking forward to this over the past week or so when we talked to set this up. I am a big fan of your team. I told the same to Maya when she was here, and I've gotten the chance to witness you guys perform live, so I'm very excited to be doing this postseason.
Thank you.
Well, to start things off, would you like to introduce yourself for those that may not know you?
So my name is Nevaeh DeSouza. I am a junior here at Cal on the gymnastics team, and I'm studying social welfare. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, awesome. And you're from pretty close by here in California, right? From Fairfield?
Yeah, it's about 45 minutes away from Berkeley.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, to start off the bat, since before your time at Cal and how you got into the sport, I usually start off by asking how people committed to Cal and that journey, but I know gymnastics is a sport you have to start off from when you're very, very young, and you started when you were 2 years old, am I right?
Yeah, my mom would take me to Mommy and Me classes and like bring me around the floor and stuff like that, and then I loved it, and so I stayed in it for so long and went throughout high school. I committed to Cal like freshman year of high school, and I just knew it was the place for me.
Yeah, I saw on some website that you had already committed by freshman year, and I was like, wow, that's very early. I don't know if that's how it is in gymnastics. Is it an early commitment?
Yeah, so all the schools are like fighting for who they want because they want people when they're young, and they just, yeah, it was crazy. And so they actually pushed back the commitment time to junior year now. So it's like you're not allowed to commit before then, which is kind of nice because then you kind of know what you're looking for in a college, because I went in looking for colleges. Like, I went in barely knowing what I wanted from, like, high school. And how do you know at 14 years old what you're going to want, like, throughout college? So it was kind of crazy to do it so early. But, yeah, they pushed it back, which is nice.
On the same website, it said that your favorite subject was math. And I'm like, well, freshman year math is fun, but I'm not sure if it's the same as, like, looking at a college, you know?
It's definitely changed. It's actually writing now.
Yeah.
Math did not go so well here.
I can fully relate to it. I don't really do any sort of math or take any tests. It's just essays here on out. So
yeah.
That makes sense. But it's good that it changed for junior year now, but it must have been tough back then. I was reading through a few things, and I saw that you were a level 10 since before. I'm not sure if I'd still say you are a level 10, but anyways, you reached level 10. At what age was that?
I was 11 in level 10, so I've done it for a really long time. And you're pretty much a level 10 in college. You do the same skills.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, to my understanding, at some point you did compete at the elite level. Is that right?
Yes, I did that in 7th and 8th grade, and then in freshman year, I was like, I'm just going to go back to level 10. It's a lot more fun, and I was doing elite by myself at my gym, and so I kind of wanted to be with a big group of people again.
So take me through, first off, reaching level 10. I know level 10 is a big deal in the gymnastics world and growing up, so take me through what it was like reaching that goal and what it meant to you.
Yeah, so I was young. I didn't really know what it meant. I just knew I wanted to get there. And so doing level 10, then I was like, oh, okay, I want to take it to the next step. And there's kind of two paths. There's like the college path and the elite path. And so I was like, okay, I want to take the elite path. And so I tried it out, and you had to practice like crazy hours, 7 hours a day, 8 hours a day, and like by yourself. And so then I tried it, and I'm really glad that I tried it because I didn't want to have any regrets. And then I went back to level 10, and I just enjoyed my last high school years as a level 10 and looking forward to college and everything like that. So it was pretty exciting. And then as like I got further on as level 10, probably like my third year as level 10, I finally had some teammates with me too, so it was nice to have some other level 10s with me.
So you were on the early side to reaching level 10?
Yes, definitely.
And throughout that time you just trained by yourself, or how did that work?
So you have teammates, but I was like the only one doing that path, so I would come in like early. I would leave school early, come into the gym by myself and do like extra conditioning and the different routines that I would need to do for elite. Because there's like a compulsory thing that you do and an optional thing, so you kind of had to do double training than everyone else. So I would do that part of my day, and then I would do the regular training with my teammates that were like level 8 through 10.
So basically you'd leave school early, come in, do extra work, and then do level 10 training?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And what's the competition like at the elite level? I saw, like, just for context for others, level 10 is 20 hours a week. Elite is 30 hours a week. So there's a huge difference. I'm sure that's obviously because of the competition. To my understanding, again, I don't want to, I will eventually sound ignorant because I'm not an expert in this sport, but to my understanding, to compete in the elite level is to compete to reach someday the Olympics or Team USA or that sort of level. So what's the competition like?
So you go to the big meets and you're competing against like Simone Biles or Sinisa Lee, like all of those crazy people. And so you go to day one, which I was talking about compulsory. So you go to the compulsory and you have to get a certain score to qualify as an elite. And then the next day you compete again and you do the optional part. And that's like what you see in college, like the fun floor routines and the bigger skills. So that's day 2, and you have to get a qualifying score there also. It's a little bit more intense, though. There's, like, hardly any cheering. It's not as fun as college looks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, college seems a lot of fun. You guys are all together, united. It seems like a big party almost, but yeah, I'm sure at that level it must be something else.
It's definitely more intense. But it is cool to be on, like, the big stage. Like, you get to go on podium and compete against, like, big names, which is awesome. Yeah.
How many elite gymnastics or gymnasts are there?
I'm not sure, but I know like at some point there's like 15 people on the senior national team that like train and compete for like the USA team. I don't exactly know the number, but it's a very small percent of people that are actually like on the team and train at like the training facility and get to compete with everyone. But it is awesome. My goal wasn't ever really to go to the Olympics. I just wanted to do gymnastics on TV, and I got to do it. I'm doing it now at Cal.
Yeah, I saw that you had mentioned from a very young age that your goals were to be on TV, to go to college for gym, and eventually nationals. And it's like, wow, that's awesome that you've already done that. You know, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Well, to get into your Cal story, you did commit to Cal quite early, like we've already mentioned. Why did you choose Cal? I mean, freshman year, we're all figuring life out, and I'm talking freshman year of high school. So what made you choose Cal?
So growing up around here, I would come to the Cal Gymnastics meets, and I would work with the coaches at camps and stuff like that. So you kind of see who you work well with at camps, all the different college coaches. And I did tour other schools because I wanted to keep my options open. But I really liked the atmosphere here at Cal. There's always something going on, like even outside of gymnastics. So if one day I couldn't do gym, would I still want to go here as a normal student? And I would. I love walking down Sproul and seeing all the different booths. And I just kind of felt like I fit in here. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome to see from such a young and early age, because I had been to Cal before, like middle school or something, but to me it was foreign grounds, I couldn't really identify with it, and we have the same rule. You can't commit until junior year, which is when I committed as well. So that's crazy, but I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, I definitely feel like my decision stayed the same. Like, I wouldn't change my decision no matter what. Like, even if I committed later or earlier, I feel like this was the only school that I really committed to and, like, stuck with. And, I mean, obviously, because I was excited to go here, but I was happy with my decision, yeah.
Was committing early a relief in some way?
It definitely was, because when you're at the camps, you have like a number on your back and all the coaches are looking at you and you feel like you have to do good. And I mean, obviously you want to do good all the time, but it definitely was a relief because you're going somewhere and you have something to look forward to.
You commit freshman year or sometime around that, and then that's also the time when you stopped with competing at the elite level. Was that part of the decision, like, I committed, I'm set, or what was your mentality moving forward to prepare for college gymnastics? Because although I'm sure that you've grown up with everyone in the gymnastics world that you're competing with or against at this point, it's still taking a leap, I'd assume, right? Like, college gymnastics must be a different level to some extent. So how did you prepare throughout those years, and was it a bit more lax, or what do you say, you were still as focused as before?
Yeah, so I was actually nervous that my coaches were going to be mad that I didn't want to do elite anymore. And I talked to them, and they were like, okay, great, like, it'll be better for your body. No one was mad about it. But leading up to college, my coach would have us travel a lot, because in college you're competing every weekend. You're traveling, you're dealing with school, you're competing every single weekend for 14 weeks in a row or however long it ends up being. But it's a long time, and that's a lot on your body. And so I think I was just trying to manage my body and learn to be able to compete every weekend. So we would go to a travel meet and then practice for 3 days and fly to our next meet. And so I think my club coach, like, growing up, did a really good job preparing me for college gymnastics, because that's exactly how it is here.
Perfect. I mean, and you clearly were very prepared for it. I mean, coming in right off the bat. This is our first time meeting, and we are in the same class. But I remember, like, coming in freshman year, I obviously know Angelina Anderson quite well. She's on women's soccer, great goalkeeper. But it was basically her in the fall, Pac-12 Freshman of the Week, all the time, like, at the top, and that was in the fall. And then in the spring or in the winter, it was you, like, back to back.
Thank you.
Freshman of the week, and I was like, damn, like, our class is pretty stacked.
Yeah.
So you came in very prepared, or how did you feel? Did you feel as prepared as it ended up being?
I feel like you can't really prepare. Like, as much as you feel like you might be prepared, it's just so different. And you never know, like, if you're going to make the lineup or not. And so you're working hard every single day because you do want to, like, prove yourself and make the lineup. And so as prepared as you can feel, there's also, like, a feeling of, like, this could be in someone else's hands. Like, the coach, it's really in, like, the coach's hands as to whether you compete or not. But you, in the gym, have to work really hard. And so I feel like you can't really feel prepared, but you just have to, like, keep working hard. I don't know how to explain it, really.
Yeah, is that the mentality you had freshman year, or something you still have to this day?
I think still to this day, because no, it's not anyone's, like, spot. Like, the lineup isn't set, and so you have to prove yourself every day, I think, and go into the gym and work hard no matter what. So I definitely would say that that's still my mentality.
That's crazy, because, I mean, you've been in the all-around lineup for such a long time, and you're still thinking that way. That's crazy, but also you have a great team, you have great teammates, so
yeah.
I understand that.
No, everyone on the team is so good. I remember coming in freshman year, and it's like you have to be able to compete because everyone is so good. You look around the gym, and everyone's doing all these crazy skills, and everyone looks so good. No, my team they're awesome, yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing, and, I mean, coming in right off the bat, I have a list of all your like accomplishments from freshman year, but what was that season like for you? Obviously, towards the end, it was a mess for everyone, but at the beginning and leading up to it, how did you feel with the team? What was the experience like? I'm not sure if you were used to competing in front of fans or at least that amount of fans, so what was it like?
Like I said before, you never really compete every single weekend, so that was a big change, and having a big team is different than going from competing with 3 people. So it was really fun to have a big team, and everyone was so welcoming. Like when you first come in, everyone's asking you, do you need a ride? Do you need this? Do you need that? Everyone was so welcoming and nice inside of the gym and out. So our team chemistry was definitely very good, and it has been up until this day. Ever since I've been here, it's been awesome. I don't know what it was before or after, I don't know. We're gonna make sure it's still good after, but yeah, so the team chemistry was good, and then I would say, like, competing, I was definitely more nervous because it's not just for yourself, you're doing it for the team, and you don't want to mess up when the pressure's on you, and, like, you don't want to mess up for your team, basically. So I would just say that was kind of different than before.
That's so interesting in an individual sport, how you're not used to having that many teammates. In a sport like gymnastics, it's interesting that it's not until college that you're competing every week. And like I hadn't realized that until right now. Yeah. That's crazy. And I get it because of the toll your body takes with the sport. But wow, I had never thought about that.
Yeah, no, because in club you probably do 6 meets total, 7 meets maybe. And now you're doing 14 in a 4-month span. So it's definitely different.
Yeah, I mean, for soccer, it's the same. Like, we're used to playing year-round. Here, we only play throughout the fall, and it's a good amount of games. Like, it's twice a week, which is a lot. I'd say we should be playing a 10th-month season like everybody else does, like, around the world.
Yeah.
But I think I already told you this before the podcast, but gymnastics takes a different toll on the body than soccer or other sports. So that's crazy, but with all the success you did have coming in, was there one point where you started feeling your ego come up, or how was that experience with so much success at such an early age in your collegiate career?
Oh, well, thank you. Definitely not, because you can do good one meet and bad the next, and so you can't really have an ego, I would say. Well, personally, I don't think so. I don't know what my teammates think. I don't know, but no, I would say I just wanted to like go in the gym and like our motto is like one day better and get one day better every day, and that's kind of what I was thinking about. And like looking towards the end of season more, like I wanted to like go to the postseason and have like a great have a great end to the season. And so to do that, you have to keep pushing throughout season. I mean, we didn't get to go to the postseason because of COVID and everything that happened, but it was definitely a season for the books. It was a good one.
Yeah. I mean, you did have a good season, and COVID came up with it, which sucked because your team was so good.
Yeah.
But that's crazy that motto is, like, you live that motto, you know? It's my favorite thing about your team. I told the same thing to Maya. Like, when I saw that for the first time, I was like, wow, that's a good motto to go by. It's my I use a Peloton to work out, and it's my like tag on the Peloton, one day better.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I love that phrase.
Yeah.
Well, to just for those that may not know, with all your accomplishments, to start off, you went 40 for 40 in 10 meets, which is crazy, especially because you're talking about like getting there every single time or being ready to compete every single meet. You went 40 for 40 in 10 meets, which is crazy. 3-time Pac-12 Freshman of the Week. You set the highest all-around score of any Pac-12 freshman. I don't know if that's to the date, but at least it's when it was written, which is crazy.
Thank you. I didn't even know that, actually.
Yeah, it's in your bio for Cal. And obviously, I mean, you were the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year, as well as on the first team All Pac-12 all around. And this I didn't know, I think is like, obviously Freshman of the Year is crazy, but Gymnast of the Year within the Cal team, or at least that's how it was voted in the banquet. That says a lot, especially as a freshman. So were you expecting that going into the season at any point?
Oh, definitely not. I didn't even know that was like an award that we had at the end of the season, but it is based on like the votes from our team, which is pretty cool. I think that like my teammates voted for me, and I had no clue that that was gonna happen at all.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you have such a good season. Like I said, or like you said, you're fighting for more. You want to go to the postseason. You're ready for that. But I'm sure your confidence is probably high after all of this, and it's like, hey, this could be my year in the postseason. I'm ready for it. And then it's cut short. At what point was it cut short? Like, was this Pac-12 championships, or did you not even have that?
So it was we had a double meet weekend coming up, so we were gonna compete Friday and compete Sunday. And then the week after was Pac-12s, and so that double meet weekend is when it got cut short, so we didn't even get to go to Pac-12s.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was kind of crazy, like, last year was my first Pac-12s, and it was the first Pac-12s for the now sophomores, too, and everyone was like, hey, like, this is all of our first time, like, this is so fun. And Pac-12s is probably, like, one of the most fun meets.
Why?
Just because there's so many fans, it's on podium, and you get some gear after, which we love the gear. And I mean, this year it went by a lot faster. Last time it was kind of slow, but you get to compete like one at a time. And this year we all competed at once. But yeah, it's different than all the other meets because you do go one at a time and it's on podium. And there's just so many fans. Like, you can't compare it to any other meet probably besides like nationals.
Got it.
Yeah.
Pardon my ignorance, but what do you mean on podium? Like, at the end, is that what you mean? Like, top 3 go on a podium, or what do you mean by that?
No, actually. So when you come to Haas, like, all the equipment's on the basketball floor. But on podium, there's probably like, it kind of looks like a desk. And it's like wood that they build up, and they put the equipment on top of the wood. And so that's like when you see like the girls at the Olympics, they have to walk up the stairs to get to the floor. So that's what it's called.
Okay,
yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I have seen that. I didn't know it was called that. So
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What was your reaction when it was cut short? Like, everybody was confused, obviously, but at least for us, we weren't in season. So what was your reaction when you were told, you know what, like, season's over? After all of that, having that in mind, like,
Yeah.
what do you think? Like, well, how do you go through that?
It was confusing at first because they said, okay, 2 weeks and we're going to be back and we'll get back to training. So you guys are just going home for 2 weeks. And we're like, okay, 2 weeks and our season's over. And we were all sad for the seniors because they had no clue that was going to be their last meet. They didn't get to have a senior meet. And so we all felt really bad for the seniors. And then we went home and we never came back. Like, we didn't come back until 8 months later. And I think that's what made our team do so well the next year because we were all so appreciative to be back in the gym and doing gymnastics. And we were hungry for more because we didn't get to do it last year. And so I think that's what kind of led to our success the next year is because we were so excited to just be doing gymnastics and we get to do the postseason and all of the fun stuff that goes along with it.
Yeah, it just reminded me of like that phrase that they say when you're transitioning from like being a little kid to like growing up, when it's like you once played at a playground and you didn't know it was going to be the last time. Like, it's the same thing for the seniors, and that's crazy because you're saying goodbye to an entire sport, an entire lifetime of a career.
Yep, with no notice. Yeah.
Wow, that must have been tough. You were supposed to take a 2-week break. It obviously extends to a very long time. You're used to training 20 hours a week, 3 years of 30 hours a week. At Cal, I'm sure it's also 20 hours a week.
Yep.
What happens when you don't have access to a gym? What was your story like during the pandemic with training, with your fitness? I mean, we all went through the same thing with school, but it affects mental health. So how was that process for you?
Yeah, so I went home and I kind of rested my body up because we were all banged up from season, and so I just kind of rested the first few weeks and finished school, and then nowhere was open. None of the gyms were open, nothing. So I just kind of tried to stay in shape as best I could and do like outdoor workouts, and it was kind of fun to hang out with my family and do things that we don't usually get to do because everyone's so busy. And I would go to see waterfalls and go outside and enjoy the outdoors. And then eventually gyms did start to open back up, not Cal yet, and so I would practice like at my old gym for a little bit, and it was hard to come back. It was hard your hands get all soft because our hands are all calloused up, and so they get all soft and you're ripping every day and you're so sore because you haven't done all this stuff in a while. So it was kind of like relearning how to do everything. And luckily your body knows how to do it because you've been doing it for so long. But it was definitely a challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, and like with thinking about it in chronological order, how long did it take for gyms to open up? Like, how many months were you out?
I would say there was probably a good 3 to 4 months of not doing any gymnastics.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And what did your outdoor workouts look like? Like, I'm just curious, how do you stay fit for a sport that you require that sort of equipment, right? Because you can't do it just with anything. So how do you do it?
Yeah, like you said, that was the longest break I'd ever had in my whole life. Like, I don't even get a week off. So, like, up until that point, I probably had a week off at most at once. So, it definitely was crazy. And we had an elliptical at home. I would go on the elliptical, and I would just come up with, like, ab circuits on my own. And I watched a lot of TikTok, and there was some TikTok workouts, but for me, it wasn't like anything crazy. I was doing handstands around the house, like just trying to do whatever I could to do some kind of gymnastics.
So literally like everybody else, I guess. That's crazy in such a demanding sport. And that was 3 to 4 months. Would you say you were back to a specific routine once your gym was opened, or not really?
I would say yes. I feel like I probably could have done more, but my body was like, it was weird coming back because like you do so much pounding and your bones aren't used to it after you take a break like that. And so I would probably go into the gym like 3 to 4 times a week, and I still had summer school too, so I was trying to do school and do that at the same time. But so I would say I would be in the gym definitely less than my usual schedule, less than 20 hours, but probably at least 12 hours a week.
So a good amount.
Yeah,
okay, so you were on top of things.
Yeah, I didn't want to be too far behind when I came back.
And how did you feel when you did come back? Were you in good shape, what do you say?
I would say, yeah. I was able to do all my skills by the time I came back here, which was nice to just hop back in and do stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome, because I'm sure that wasn't the case for everyone. So it's awesome that you were on top of things, and it's why you've kept accomplishing things, right?
Well,
so that's awesome. Last week, Isabel Ivy was here from swim, and she talked about how during the pandemic, she was like, I mean, because you can't be competing the same as everyone.
Yeah.
So you get to know yourself as a normal human, you know, and especially in sports where you've been competing your entire life. You can relate to that. She can relate to that. I can relate to that. And I really related to what she said, like, being Isabel Ivy, not the swimmer, but the person. I can relate to that because I had to learn about that myself. Would you say that you had some sort of similar experience, or not really?
Definitely. I think it's going to be weird when our sports do come to an end because you have so much time to do whatever. And so I don't think I had like an epiphany, but I definitely did learn that I'm going to have to manage my time properly when I am done with sports, and that I do want to keep like exercising and staying in shape kind of thing. But yeah, it was definitely crazy to just be a normal person.
It was, and I can relate to what you said, like just hanging out with family. And I mean, I know it's extremely privileged to say this, but I honestly miss it, you know, because I've never had that, and I probably won't again. At least I don't hope we get shut down ever again.
Yeah.
But it was so much time, and I enjoyed them so much. So I'm glad you got the same. But you come back sophomore year. It was during October, right, when you guys came back?
Yes, around there, yeah.
Okay, and that's a whole other story, which I talked with Maya about as well, because you come back, but the rules are very strict, and your team pretty much followed them to the dot.
Yeah.
So you were training, and then you'd go back home. Do you have roommates, or were you living on your own?
So I live with my teammate Natalie. She's on the team. I just said my team. I live with my teammate Natalie and Sienna from lacrosse.
Okay.
Yeah. And so everyone was pretty strict because no one wanted to get COVID. So that was kind of nice to be living with other athletes during that time because everyone was following rules.
How hard was it, like, going to practice and then having to come back and just being with the same two people? Like, for me, we didn't come back until January, but I mean, I was going to practice, seeing people, and then I'd come back. I was with the same 4 guys, and I
Yeah.
love all of them, but it was like, it was getting pretty repetitive.
Yeah.
And if not, I was just online school on this desk, and I was getting pretty tired of it.
I bet, yeah.
How was it for you guys? Because you guys were here longer than us. That's why I'm asking. So
Yeah.
how was that?
It was okay. We tried to do other stuff. So like we have a little lake by our house, so we would try to go out to the lake or go to the beach, and like we were just trying to do anything we could outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was stuck in here, and I didn't do that, and I probably should have. But going back to your sophomore year, you came back as if you didn't leave in the season opener, top 3 finishes in all 4 events. And I think it's what you mentioned, like not taking that time off, even if it is 12 hours instead of 20. I think that not enough people worldwide in their different crafts were putting in the same amount of time as they would usually. So that just goes on to show your hard work paying off.
Thank you.
What was it like being back after such a long time? And I'm asking from a gymnastics perspective, where it's demanding so much of your body. Are you very sore the next day? Your calluses, like, what's it like going through that?
Yeah, so we usually have like we come back in August and we have all of that time up until January to prepare for our season. So our preseason was cut short, so we had to kind of ramp everything up the second we got here, and so that was definitely hard on our body, and going from practicing 12 hours to now 20 hours, but very like intense 20 hours. And so I would say we were all so sore, like, and you couldn't take any time off because you would just be so sore the next day. Like, and I mean, people were getting COVID here and there, and you take 10 days off again, and so then it sets you back again. But luckily, we did good throughout the preseason, and our team had very strict rules, and so we were trying to prevent that from happening because it's hard to stop and go. And so once we kind of ramped up, we were like, okay, we need to go because it's time for season. But yeah, I would say like the first month, it was hard to walk up the stairs. I was so sore.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think that the only thing I can relate it to is like lifting or after a heavy day or like conditioning. But for you guys, like doing that all the time, it must be tough. It
is, but you guys have a schedule too that you have to go by.
See, the thing is, and I was talking about this with Maya when she came as well, the thing is we do have the schedule, we do have the hours, we at least individually, we lift, some of the guys spin, conditioning with the team, playing with the team, but our joints aren't as impacted as you guys. We aren't landing every 10 seconds, or we aren't like, that sort of thing, or I think maybe we do lifting, but you guys are doing body weight exercises the entire time. So I think that's the major difference, I would say.
Okay.
What, do you guys lift at all, or is it strictly the body weight exercises in practice?
We do lift in like the fall more, and then we do spin outside of gym just to keep our cardio good and stuff like that. 2
questions out of curiosity. Why spin? Like, as your source of cardio, do you know?
I think our coach she loves it. She loves spin. I don't know. We do spin like 4 times a week, I would say, at least. I think it's easy on your, like you were saying about your joints, it's easy on your joints. We do the elliptical too, but like I try to stay away from the treadmill because we're always pounding on our joints, and so it can make you sore the next day, and I think spin's like the most easy way of getting that cardio in without pounding.
Yeah, that is exactly why I was asking, because the running, I feel like it would just affect especially the knees or the ankles more.
Yeah.
And then lifting, what does lift look like for a gymnast?
We don't lift too much weight. We do like deadlifts and front squats, back squats, because you do want to be strong so that you have muscles to push through and use for flipping and tumbling and stuff like that. But it's not anything crazy. We're not doing like bench presses or anything. Yeah, I would say it's more leg heavy.
I was gonna say, so it's mostly lower body, because I mean the rest, it's like doing pull-ups. I mean, I wouldn't say you're specifically doing pull-ups, but in your routines,
you're on the bar, you're pushing yourself up with your hands all the time. Yeah, your gymnasts are pretty strong in their arms already, I think.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Throughout that season, obviously COVID is a thing, but you do reach your first Pac-12s. You guys go to your first, or at least, yeah, your personal first regionals and then nationals. I already mentioned your season opener, but then you hit the fifth best all-around score in program history twice. So how is that season going for you as it progressed? Was there a sense of it could get canceled at any time, I could get COVID at any time, or not really?
Yes, there was definitely that sense, and we were all nervous, and we were all following our rules pretty strict because we didn't want what happened last year to happen again. And like I said, if you stop and go, it makes it so much harder, and so we all just, we were just kind of trying our best not to get COVID. But we saw it going so well, and so that's what kind of motivated us to keep going and keep staying strict about our rules.
Was season shorter at all?
So it got pushed back about 2 weeks. I want to say the first 2 meets got canceled, and so it started like the very end of January, which was usually it starts at the beginning. So not doing those 3 meets kind of saved our body a little, I would say.
So it was a good thing in a way.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Again, in season, you go 2-time Pac-12 Gymnast of the Week, career high on bars at UW, third in the vault at Pac-12s, and in the all-around. How's that Pac-12's experience? It's not the same as this year, obviously, because of COVID. But like you said, it's your first Pac-12s, the freshmen's first Pac-12s. So what was that experience like for you guys?
It was exciting. It was kind of crazy because you have like the best teams in the Pac-12 going all at once, and so you're kind of wandering, like looking at everyone and just like seeing so much good gymnastics, and so it was just like we kind of had to stay focused and stay like in the zone, but it was still like a lot of fun, and everyone did so well, and it was just really cool to kind of I got like a little plaque for getting third, so that was kind of cool. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And from what you mentioned, you said the best teams in the Pac-12. So not all Pac-12 teams go to the championship?
They do, but the bottom 4 go in the morning session, and the top 4 teams go at the night session.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, I think it's crazy. I'm pretty sure it's going to be consistent from last year to this year. But with those 8 teams, 4 or 5 are in the top 20, which says a lot about the Pac-12. I mean, you pretty much know a good amount of the girls you're competing against, right? Because of how you grew up in gymnastics.
Yeah, gymnastics, like the circle's pretty small, and so you kind of know people. Even like I knew my abortus like before we came in because we saw each other to meet, and so like it's so small, like you go to each other's meets and you see each other, and like especially if you know you're gonna like be going to college around each other, it's like you kind of want to get to know everyone, and like even some of the gymnasts at like Oregon State I grew up competing against because they lived like an hour away from me, or like a lot of the Pac-12 schools just because they live nearby.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, that's crazy. But I was looking through it. I mean, I know Utah was number 3 this year. You guys were around 7th and 11th and like there throughout the season. But I think, I mean, UCLA is obviously always in it. Arizona was in it, and OSU was also in it. So
yeah,
that says a lot about the Pac-12, and I think it is an accomplishment to just even be there in the top 4. But I mean, with what you guys were doing, your team was on the right track, and you head to regionals. How different is regionals? Because there you're competing with outside of your conference. So what's it like? I know there's more at stake logically, but at the same time not competing against Pac-12 teams and being used to that. Would you say that's a relief?
I don't know about a relief. I know that at regionals, like it was everyone's goal that we made it to nationals. Like we all had the same goal, and we all worked towards it all season, and so that was like we were going to nationals. And so I think at regionals, you do 2 days again, so you have to qualify to day 2. And we felt like really good after that, and so then at day 2 we were like, okay, this is our time, like we can do this. And so I think it was like really exciting just to like show off what we'd worked all season for. And so it's like definitely nerve-wracking because you're like the pressure's on now, but it was a way to show like what we'd worked for all season, I think.
Yeah, and even like the pressure is there, but what do you even consider you're competing against other teams, or is it hitting your routine the thing that matters? Because for us, we are literally competing with another team, and we're trying to score more goals than we get scored on, and we're fighting for the ball. We're trying to keep the ball.
Yeah.
But for you guys, it's an individual sport, and in the at the collegiate level, you guys are accumulating your points, and that's why it's a team. But realistically, it's an individual sport. So how do you view it when you're competing?
Yeah, even our coaches will say, like, it doesn't matter who you're competing against. It could be the best team, the worst team, whatever. You should just, like, go out there and compete against yourselves, because you can't control what the other team's doing. Like, our coach Liz will say, like, there's no defense in gymnastics. Like, you just kind of do you, and then, like, I don't know. So, yeah, you're not competing against the other team really as much as you are against yourself, kind of.
Is it hard not to think about the other team, though? Like, like, I can't put myself in your shoes, so what is it like? Do you think about, like, they just hit that, or they have this score? Like, do you ever think about that?
So I feel like you're not supposed to, like, you're supposed to be really focused, and sometimes you look around and you can see what the other teams are doing, but, like, some meets you don't even know what the other team did, because, like, you're so focused and you're so focused on your teammates. So you really shouldn't, like, be seeing what the other team is doing, because we're all kind of focused on ourselves. Do you kind of know everyone in the soccer, like, pool? Because you grew up? No?
Yes and no. I know a good amount of people, but I think there's more. Like, on our team, there's 28.
Okay, yeah. So it's a lot more people do soccer, so it's hard to know everyone, kind of.
Yeah. I knew my entire class coming in, but I didn't know the classes above me, nor the classes below me,
Really?
if that makes sense.
Okay,
yeah. I know a few guys from different classes at different schools.
Yeah.
But I'd say it's limited, especially, like, I've probably played against a good amount of guys that I still play against, like, here at the collegiate level, but no, I wouldn't say, like, I recognize him. No, not really. It's I feel like it's a much of a bigger world, especially California. Soccer is like a big deal. If I were in another state, it'd probably make sense, but no, not.
Yeah. Okay.
So yes and no. I knew my entire class, like, because I played against them, or with some I played with, like my roommate. But no, not to. Well, did you know everybody coming in?
Pretty much, but I would, like, watch the meets and, like, kind of see everyone. Also, the age groups are, like, really big. I don't know if soccer is, like, based on age or level, or...
It is based on, well, both, but age. Okay. I mean, everybody here played at the same level growing up. It's mostly the age. Okay,
yeah. So ours is, like, not really based on age, and so I think that's how you kind of get to know everyone, because it doesn't matter how old you are. I was, like, 11 competing against 18-year-olds. So
wow.
I think that's how, like, you get to know everyone. Kinda.
I mean, at the elite level, it makes sense, but with level 10, I didn't know that was also the case, so...
Yeah, when you do, like, awards and stuff, you're in different age groups, but, like, when you're competing, you're all on the same floor. Like, wow. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Where were we? We were at gym doesn't have any defense.
Yes.
That is very interesting, and it's something I really like about the sport. I'm really into individual sports where you can focus on your personal progress rather than the team's progress, if that makes sense. And you can say, well, you can apply that to any sport, and yes, but I think that having your own number, own score is, I don't know, it pushes you to improve and to progress. But at the same time, it's interesting with how subjective and objective it is, and we'll talk about that later. But for now, third place in vault and all around at Pac-12s. You go to regionals, top level, day 1 you pass, day 2 you're about to qualify for nationals, and you hit a career high in beam, and you get second in the all-around for the second time that year, third time that year. What was it like taking you through that experience, especially with the beam, which I believe is your favorite event, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, beam is my favorite event. I think that at regionals, the scoring is, like, kind of, I don't know about more fair, but, like, there's 4 judges, or 4 maybe at regionals and 5 at nationals, but it's, like, there's more judges to see everything, and so it was, like, kind of cool to get a high score with, like, 4 judges, too, so That was cool. And then I didn't even know anything about what I placed at regionals or anything like that. I was just so excited for like our team to be going to nationals. Like I just wanted to do good for our team like on that day. And so that was pretty much my goal of the day. I didn't even know that I got second there.
Yeah. I mean, it's you're right in mentioning that it is way harder with more judges, obviously, because your final result is the average, and when it's it makes sense mathematically. But you mentioned that the team's goal was to go to nationals. How do you guys set that goal, or is it just stating the obvious for you guys? I feel like your team is like or with your coaches especially, you guys have a specific mentality and a specific team culture that I could see you guys having like specific goals, but I could be wrong, and it could just be like obviously you go to nationals.
Yeah, we do set like specific goals for ourselves. We actually we didn't do it this year, but usually we like do a team retreat and we kind of talk about like what we want out of the team, what we want for season, and so that's like kind of a good bonding place for us, and that's where we like come up with our goals. And it should be obvious that everyone wants to go to nationals, and it is obvious, and everyone does want to go, but it's kind of like us telling each other like we have to make sacrifices if this is our goal and this is what we want to do. And so then it's like kind of getting everyone on the same page of how we're gonna get there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that everybody has to make sacrifices, obviously in the social aspect of things, with sleep, nutrition, etc. But what would you say are some of the sacrifices you'd make?
Yeah, so like you said, like sleep and nutrition, we would practice at 7 in the morning, and so definitely sleep. We would have to go to bed so early because you don't want to wake up so tired the next day that you can't do gym. Nutrition wise, we had a nutritionist, and just kind of like following what she said, and she would always, Yasi was like a really good nutritionist for us, and she would like force us to eat during a meet and kind of keep our energy up. And then kind of like during the COVID season, definitely had to make a lot of sacrifices. Of course, you want to go out and see your friends from other teams, or hang out with each other outside of practice was kind of like a liability a little bit. And so I think just like kind of sticking to our rules is like a sacrifice, because we weren't going out and we weren't doing other stuff that we shouldn't be doing, kind of.
Yeah, that makes sense. With the nutrition during the meet, so you guys get snacks or something during the meet, is that something you're used to, or was it just with this specific nutritionist?
Yeah, so I wasn't used to doing it because I don't really like to eat during a meet, but like she forces you to, because it is a long time, and we practice before the meet, which not a lot of people see, so that's 2 hours of practicing before, 2 hours of competing, so it's like a long day, and you do need fuel to fuel your body as much as you don't want to eat it. And so it's kind of nice to have someone like reminding you like, hey, you need to eat, you need to fuel, so that you're not tired by like the last event, which is floor, and you need the most energy for floor.
That's interesting, because like I do see it as you reach a higher level, you see people doing it more, having a specific like caffeine drink or some sort of thing like before the meet or before the game, and then at halftime, at least for us, it's like you have this snack or you have this fruit. Like everybody has their own specific thing, but you don't see it until a specific level. And it's interesting, I hadn't considered that for you guys, because I feel like you are resting a good amount of the time, but you're there for 4 or 5 hours, so that makes sense. What was it like heading to nationals? How many days is nationals?
So you have a practice day, and then day 1 and day 2.
Okay. I know the story of how crazy it was. Did you guys have a big issue with COVID at any other point during the season?
We didn't, and that was what was crazy about it, because of course, like we were good all season, and then we get to nationals, and my roommate tested positive for COVID, and so.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what, like, take me through how everything went. You guys fly out to, where was it?
Dallas.
In Dallas.
Yeah.
Okay, so you fly out to Dallas. I'm assuming the next day was day 1 of practice? Okay, so you have day 1 of practice. You're competing in the official day 1. And when is it, or take me through your perspective of what it was like to go through that very stressful process.
Yeah, so we had a practice day, and everything went good. We had a good day, and then we're in a team meeting, and our roommate texts us like, "Hey guys, I'm so sorry, I tested positive for COVID." And so we're like, "Oh my gosh, what do we do?" So we are in the middle of our team meeting. Me and my other roommate Natalie, we turn our camera off, and we immediately are like, "Jacqueline, our trainer, like, can we call you?" And she's like, "Is it an emergency?" And we're like, "Yeah." And so we tell her, and we had no clue if we were going to compete or not. And we didn't know if the team was going to get to compete or not, because they've all been in close contact with us. And so they were like, "Okay, we're going to figure it all out." So we were quarantined like the rest of the night, and they were trying to figure out, how can we get you to compete? And so the rest of our team heads off to the arena. They're warming up, and me and my roommate are still waiting back to hear if we can compete or not.
Wow.
And at this point, we'd probably taken like 8 COVID tests, and we're testing negative every time. And so we're like, okay, like, they should let us compete. So we're waiting for another test. We get the results back, and we're negative. So we're excited. We get to go to the arena. We start warming up. It's going great. Midway through the warm-up, they pull our whole team off the floor. And so we're like, oh my gosh, like, okay, so we want the team to compete. Like, if we don't compete, it's whatever. We want the team to compete. So I must have taken my grips off and back on 5 times, because I didn't know if we were going out or not. And someone's like, okay, be ready, put your grips on. So I would put my grips on, take them off, and then we didn't know what anyone else was doing, because me and my roommate were in a different room than everyone else. And so we're waiting in a different room. Our whole team's waiting in the locker room. And then they get to go out and warm up, and we didn't. So then we hear a rule that we're going to get to compete, except we only get 30 seconds of warm-up time. So everyone else gets to do their warm-up, and we're waiting in, like, this hallway, this, like, concrete hallway, and behind the curtains at the meet. And I'd only warmed up, like, vault at this point. And so I was like, okay. So I go warm up floor for 30 seconds. I go back behind the curtain, and I've never been anything past, like, first, second, or third to go on floor, and they're like, okay, we're going to put you last. And so I had so much time to wait around and think, and so I'm walking back and forth, and then I get to go up, and I go do my floor routine, and I got the best score I've ever gotten at anywhere. And it was at Nationals, which was pretty cool, and so we just kept doing that. So then we'd go back behind the curtain, wait for our time, warm up for 30 seconds, compete, which is crazy, because no one understands, like, how hard that is to not warm up.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. First off, I was asking, just in general, because I know it's a crazy story. I had no clue that you and your roommate were the ones that were the contact traced. That is
we were
crazy.
The ones, yep.
Wow. Okay. And what was going through your mind? You mentioned that you want the team to compete even if you can't.
Yeah.
I don't think it's whatever, right? I mean, you obviously want to compete, but what were you thinking when you are walking back and forth? Like, were you stressed out even more? Because you'd think, well, you're stressed out even more, you're not going to compete as well. But like you said, your floor score was the best you've ever gotten. So
yeah.
What was going through your mind?
So I was really stressed, and when we heard that we got to compete, I was just so excited, and I did actually I felt prepared, because we do practice, like, routines where we don't get to warm up very much, so I kind of knew I could do it, like, even without warm up. So I was nervous, but I kind of was confident, actually. It was weird. And then after I did my floor routine, I felt like, okay, I could do this the rest of the meet. Like, this is fine. We're just going to do it without the warm up. And so after doing floor, I definitely felt a lot better, because you do the first one and you feel a little bit better. And so that was, yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. What was the order that you guys went in? Was it floor, beam?
Floor, vault, bars, beam.
Okay.
Yeah, so ending on beam, yeah.
So you guys switched up the entire thing, because I know here, when you're at home in the Pac-12, what is it? You go vault, then bars, then beam, then floor.
Yep.
And you flip it around when you're away.
Yeah.
Interesting that you did it that way at Nationals. But obviously you guys ended up having success. You accomplished your goal. You finished as a first-team All-American, and second-team All-American in the all-around, the beam, the floor, regular season All-American all-around. So that was pretty successful for you, but I think that the most impressive thing for me was, once again, 47 out of 48 routines, Pac-12 first-team All-American, and all around, sorry, not All American, Pac-12 first team, all around vault, bars, and honorable mention in beam. So you're involved in all four of them. You're doing well in all four of them, and then you hit 47 out of 48 routines after not having trained for 3 to 4 months. But I think, like, what would you give credit to that? Is it just the extra work you did put in while you were away, or what would you say it was to maintain that consistency, again, on a sport that takes so much toll on your body?
Yeah, I think that being consistent is like based on what you do at practice, kind of, and so I think like if you go into it prepared, then it makes it easier on yourself. So I guess I would say that I would contribute it to like my work in the gym, because I don't know, I feel like I work pretty hard.
So you basically gain confidence from your work?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah, because you do, like, a lot of numbers. You do so many of the same routine in the gym, and so then it's just trusting yourself when you go out and compete.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, congratulations on that great season. You come
Thank you.
back, and then it's your junior year, I mean, which we're still in technically right now. But things are back to normal. Things are good. We're happy with everything, the way it's going. As you guys are starting season, in a world where it seems like COVID is done and things like that, rankings come out and you're prepared for season. You guys had an exceptional season last year. Rankings come out, and I don't know, I think it was number 3 in the Pac-12 that you guys were ranked.
Yeah.
Were you guys surprised by that, or what was it like hearing that news?
I don't know if it, like, affected us too much, but it was surprising because we wanted to be you want to be number 1, right? But, yeah, I think we could have been higher. But, yeah, it was surprising. I don't know. I don't think it affected us too much, though.
Especially for you guys, I guess, that you're used to, like, the judges' scores and things like that.
Yeah.
Well, you're coming in number 3, which, I mean, even if it is maybe a bit lower than it should be within the Pac-12, it still says a lot, again, with a conference that is so competitive.
Yeah, definitely.
It says a lot. And then I remember I recorded with Maya in December, and I finished off the episode by saying, I'm so excited. I'm going to be watching you guys all season. I'm going to go to LA for the Invitational with my sister. She's like, no way, cool.
Yeah.
Text her a few days before, yep, it's going to happen. And then I checked my email. I hadn't checked my email in forever, right? And it was the day of when it was supposed to be the Invitational, and I'm just checking the address. It says canceled, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, how is this canceled? I had already seen that Cal wasn't going to compete, but the whole event got canceled.
Yeah.
So in a world where COVID was supposed to be in the past, your team is struck by it again. So what was that experience like, again, because of the time off? And right after that, you guys went straight into season. So what was that like?
Yeah, like you said, like, you think it would be over and done, but we actually face a lot more COVID issues this year than we did last year, which was pretty interesting. I personally got COVID right before, like, going into winter, like, Christmas break, and a lot of people did around that time, and we had, like, our whole team was almost out, which was kind of, I don't know, I think that, like, kind of played into us not going to the meet because our whole team was out, and so then, like you said, we kind of had to come back in and jump right into it, and then you're kind of trying to play catch-up all of season. Like, your body isn't used to taking time off and then getting right back into it. And then you're just kind of going. After being sore from having time off, then you're still going. And we have meets every weekend, and so you don't get a break. But it was sad that our first meet was canceled, but I think it was, like, a smart move to not do it because we had been out for a while.
Back after a bit of a technical break, but you were saying that you're glad that it was canceled, that first meet.
Yeah.
Because of the toll on your body?
Because there was, like, so many COVID issues, I think it was smart for us to rest after taking a few days off because of COVID. Yeah, it would, and then after that, jumping right back in and trying to go back into season, and we had a meet the next weekend after that. Your body just, like, it never really gets to recover because it's just still going, and so I think it was smart that we didn't do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned that you got COVID before break, so you were fine, but your team situation was right after New Year's because that's when the invitational was. And then even heading into the season opener against Stanford, weren't you guys still dealing with a bit of that?
Yeah, even at our meet against Utah, someone had COVID on our team. And so we were kind of dealing with it all season up until, like, mid to end of season. Because,
Wow.
You get it and then someone else gets it and they have to be out. Like, so it was kind of just, like, a game of bouncing around of who's getting COVID at certain times and having people hop in for them because they can't compete right now.
That must have been weird because you guys were so strict in 2020. But do you guys even set COVID rules during this season? Like, I don't know if it's not that you can't, but it's crazy that since you are facing so many cases, did you guys set rules at any point?
We didn't set any rules this year, but we kind of all knew in our heads, like, we don't want to have an issue, so, like, let's be smart, you know? And so, we would definitely tell each other, like, we need to be smart, and I don't think anyone was doing anything crazy to get COVID. But yeah, it just seemed to be a bigger issue this year than last for some reason, yeah.
Crazy, especially because it was with your team. I saw it with women's basketball as well. And in our team, it's like foreign. That's in the past, we haven't really struggled with that, which I'm glad, but crazy, especially we're not very careful about that. So interesting, but I guess that's how it works.
Yeah.
How many days did you have leading up to Stanford that you guys did prepare?
I can't remember, but we were definitely prepared for Stanford. I think everyone that came back got that week before where we were supposed to compete and then another week. So at least 2 weeks of preparing. Which
okay,
good.
So you were fine.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Well, you come back and it's a season opener and, you guys get a big win. It was a very exciting meet and for the entire thing we've talked up to this point, I haven't even watched or witnessed. I watched highlights or like watched on TV, but now I'm like witnessing all of this, so it's like fresh off my memory. You get the win right off of that. Your score on the vault was a 990, and I believe you won it at that meet. And you got second all around, and again the fourth best all around score in school history, 39.625, coming off from last year, tying the fifth best all-around score in school history 3 times. So, again, exciting things coming up. Do you have specific goals this season, or is it just to see what happens?
I would say, well, right now I'm kind of just like resting off of last season. But going into next season, definitely would love to make it to nationals as a team, and I would love to get a 10. That would be pretty cool. I think it would be cool to get on any of the events, but maybe vault, just because I got it actually once in club, and so it'd be kind of cool to do it again in college. And then just maybe like some upgrades on floor, and it is going to be my last year, so it'll be exciting just to enjoy every moment of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. With some of the things you mentioned, beam you've said is your favorite event, but is your best vault? What do you say?
I would say I get the highest scores on vault, yes.
Okay. And how do you go about setting your own goals? Obviously, it's like nationals, obviously, a 10, obviously, but how do you have a specific thing that you do or not really?
Not really. I mean, when you're little, I feel like you have, like, goals, and then as you accomplish them, you have to keep setting more, because, like, how do you can't just, like, stop having goals. It would be boring. I always wanted to have, like, my own skill, which I thought would be cool, but I don't know what I would do. You have to do something different than everyone else.
Interesting.
Your own, so.
When is it that you guys choose your routines and for floor, your songs? Like, how often does that change? And when is it that you start preparing for that?
So you prepare over the summer and you, like, learn your new floor routine, and it depends on who you are. Sometimes people get it once a year, sometimes people get them, like, once every other year, but our coach Liz usually helps us pick our music.
All right, and we're back after another technical break. I'm not sure what's going on with that camera, but I will have to check it. I was telling you that there's not like in our sports where we have practice. I can't really practice this besides doing this. So hey, I perfect by trial and error. And you asked if this is what I want to do later on. It's a hobby to me. So I don't know.
Yeah,
If
awesome.
if it works out at some point and I can earn money from it, sure.
Yeah.
But if not, then I'll stick with it as a hobby because I'm doing it because I like it. I'm not doing it for any other reason. So, yeah, that's it. But again, we were talking about goals, and I guess to answer your question a bit more, if I don't have any goals, then there's no purpose in doing this, right? I mean, for me, I think my goal is to spread a positive message, but also to learn from others and to get to know more people here, because it's crazy to think how surrounded we are by amazing people, and it's like, wow, I'd like to meet them and then get to know their story. So
Yeah, and there's so many people and you don't even know, and like you only know a select few because you're on your sports team and you make friends with like those people, and then it's like hard to meet other, especially with COVID, we didn't get to really meet that many people too.
So that's the story from my pandemic story. To me, I was like, wow, who am I without soccer? And I had a tough freshman year with soccer, and I started getting into content for different reasons, but I got into making videos to tell my friends with like what was going on with current events. So I was recording that and I would share it
that's
with them.
fun,
And then someone saw it, the daughter of one of my dad's best friends, and I didn't know her before, different ages, but she's into creating content, and she's like, let's go make videos. And I was like, all right, cool. And I get into that, and then we started having recorded conversations, and then I'm like, you know what? I don't know that many people at Cal because of COVID, and it was our freshman year. And I'm like, I should start a podcast. So
Yeah,
here we are.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Here we are. Anyways, moving forward, you were the 19th best all-around competitor in the nation this year. And I think that the only thing more impressive than that coming from Cal is that there were 3 of you this year. What is it like knowing that, one, you're very close to the top, but two of your teammates are as well and in different classes? So what I think it says a lot about Cal, but I'm sure it shows when it comes to practices and definitely in results, but when it comes to practices, what is it like getting to compete with gymnasts of that caliber?
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, like you look around the gym and there's always like amazing stuff happening, and so everyone definitely pushes each other in the gym every day with like how hard they work, because I mean, like you have no one, if there was no one pushing you, you wouldn't get better. And so I think that it's like awesome that there's so many good people on our team that can push each other and like support each other at the same time, because everyone definitely supports each other. Like there's no question about that either. And so I think it's a good sense of competitiveness.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we were talking about how you come up with your routines and your songs, and you talked about how that's over the summer. Do you start nearly from day one once you come back in the fall, or once you get into it in preseason, just perfecting that routine?
Yeah, so vault, bars, and beam usually stay pretty much the same, and then your floor routine is like the dance changes and everything like that, and so that you practice a little bit more just because you don't want to forget it when you're up there. Everything else is just like your skills that you do, and so if you're going to upgrade a skill, you learn it over summer usually, and then you just practice it until it's consistent enough to be able to compete it.
So do you practice that by yourself at your own gym, or where is that?
You can either practice at the Cal gym with your Cal coaches, or if you go home, and sometimes people will practice at their club gyms too.
Do you guys stay here over summer?
Some people do, some people don't. I like to go home just to see my family and hang out with my family and practice with my old teammates, because they all go to different colleges, so it's kind of fun to like practice with them again. And then I'm actually taking a summer class here, so I'll be back for session D to be practicing here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. And is there any sense, so just to get this clear, first off, freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, same routine when it comes to vault, beam, and bars besides some upgrades?
Yeah, bars and vault are the exact same, and then beam, I've made like some little like dance changes and jump changes here and there. And then floor, all my tumbling's been the same. I just have a different floor routine this year. And then hopefully next year I'll be doing an upgraded tumbling pass.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what about your song? Does that change or does it remain the same the entire time?
I think I'll find out eventually. Liz kind of tells us who's getting new floor routine and who's not, and so I'll find out soon.
So depending on your floor routine, you change the song?
Well, she'll like change the dance and the song. She'll do it both. But like my abortus had the same floor routine for a while, or I had a floor routine for 2 years. But like some people get them every year. It just depends.
Interesting.
She just picks. Yeah.
Does it get repetitive at any point?
I would say yes and no. Like I said, like you can always like you could do it perfect one time and not the next, and so that's like kind of goes in hand with being consistent because you have to practice being able to do it the same every time. But it can get repetitive sometimes doing the same routine because I've been doing this bar routine I've been doing the same skills pretty much like throughout level 10. So
that's like a decade.
Yeah, so like a long time. But I've switched them up here and there. So it's fun to play around in the summer because it keeps you excited and learning new things.
That's awesome. Yeah, for me, I was just thinking about that, and it's like they're doing like because I'm there, and it's like I know the songs at this point, or like some of the dances. It's like I mean you know what's coming up, but it's still a lot of fun to watch. Obviously, I was just like that's very different because for us we show up and.
You don't know
different
what's
opponent.
Coming,
You literally cannot predict what is coming in here. It's like you kind of can.
Yeah.
Interesting. As your season progresses, you guys were undefeated for a while, and even in your first loss at Arizona, you guys set some really good scores. So it was like something to look forward to. But then your next loss was at UCLA, which I know is a very historic place when it comes to women's gymnastics, and I'm sure it's very hard to compete there. But at the same time, you're crowned regular season Pac-12 champion, so you lost, but you celebrated because it's the first time in school history. So I feel like every time you guys did lose, there was still something to celebrate. Am I not understanding something, or how does that work?
No, yeah, you're right. Because even after we lost at ASU, we knew, okay, like, we can win the next one. Like, we're going to go in the gym, fix our mistakes, and win the next one. And then when we didn't, we still were regular season champs. So, you're right. Yeah, it was definitely something to celebrate each time.
Yeah, and also, to my understanding, was it a tie for regular season champs, or what ended up happening?
Yeah, so actually there was a 4-way tie. So half the Pac-12 is, but it was the first time in history, so that was pretty cool, no matter what.
No, that's awesome because, I mean, it's never happened before.
Yeah.
But when I saw the tie, I was like, what?
Yeah.
For us, no ties like that.
Really?
Well, could you? Yes, the odds are very, very, very low.
Yeah.
Because we play each team twice.
Mm-hmm. So it could go either way.
Yes, it's technically you could. It just hasn't happened. At least not in a while. Definitely not in my career here.
Okay.
But
that's interesting.
When I saw the 4-way tie, I was like, wow.
No way. Yeah.
Interesting. Heading into Pac-12s, what was it like now? You said the experience was different. It was much faster.
Mm-hmm.
Were you guys still worried about COVID? I feel dumb for asking this, but I mean, with what you just mentioned.
At this point, like, pretty much everyone had it, or if they didn't, like, they were like, okay, we kind of feel like okay at this point, so we were not worried about COVID at this point. But yeah, we were excited for Pac-12s.
Yeah, and how did that go? Because there is a regular season champion, but then there is a Pac-12 champion from the championship.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm stating the obvious. The goal is to win the entire thing, but what were you guys thinking of? Were you specifically thinking like, all right, no matter what, we make it to regionals, or is that how you qualify? Or take me through what you guys were thinking in that meet. What was the goal?
Yeah, so you have to be in like the top 36. There's like some play-in days and stuff like that, but we basically knew we were going to regionals at that point, and so we weren't really focused on regionals. We just wanted to. We did want to win Pac-12s, especially because there was a 4-way tie, so we're like, okay, we can do this. But we had a great day, and that was the highest score we'd ever gotten at Pac-12s. So that was pretty cool. And it was in Utah, and so Utah had a bunch of fans there and stuff. And so the energy in that place was crazy. Like, yes, they were cheering for Utah, but it was still pretty cool to have, like, that many fans. But Utah had a great day, and so it just wasn't our day. But it was still a great meet for us, and multiple people won events and got plaques and stuff like that, so that was cool.
That's awesome. And yeah, even for Utah, they were number 3 in the nation this year, and you guys beat them here at Cal as well. So lots going on in the Pac-12 this season. And like I had mentioned, I feel like this is a trend on your team for this season. Like, you guys lost, but there's still something to celebrate. It's crazy, like, with the highest score at Pac-12s in program history. Like, that's so interesting.
It is crazy. This team, I mean, not just this team, but in the past, like, ever since I've been here, I feel like we've just been setting records, breaking records, and, like, it's just crazy to be a part of making history.
Yeah. You know, well, I mean, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
You go to regionals, and in the semifinal, you did win the bars event, which is awesome to see. But what was the regionals experience like? Because obviously it didn't go as the same way it was last year. So, so what was going through your team's mind? Was it a loss that you could still celebrate, or not really in this case?
Yeah, so day 1, we had a great day. We were heading into day 2. Again, our goal, we want to go to nationals. We got a day off in between this time. This is new. Usually you go back-to-back days, and so we got a day off to rest our body and kind of recover. And then we competed that next day. We were wearing a brand new leotard. It was exciting. And I think we were all very nervous, and we put a lot of pressure on ourselves because we did so well last time. And so bars was our first event, and it didn't go as well as we would have hoped it to. But we were like, okay, we can still do this. Like, we're still in this. And so everyone picked it back up on beam, and we had, I want to say it was like our best beam score at regionals. And then floor, everyone killed it. And it was vault, our weakest event that was left. And we put it all out on the line, like everything that we had, into our vaults, and we still got a great score and had a great day. And so I think it was definitely still something that we could celebrate because it was still a really good day. We didn't count any falls, and we did good, and it just wasn't our day. Yeah.
And that's that. And that's where my question comes in. How much, as a competitor, I'm assuming you're all very competitive.
Yes.
How much does the role play of acknowledging that it is a subjective sport versus an objective result, right? Like, you have a judge determining what number it is. I understand that there's 4 judges, so it's pretty fair. But I don't know, for us, it's like you either scored more goals or you didn't. Sure, we can still say the referee messed it up here and here and here.
Yeah.
But it's a bit objective. Not as other sports like track or swimming, but still objective. For you guys, it's 100% subjective, and I'm sure you can say, well, if you know gymnastics, then you'd probably get it. And yeah, that makes sense. But do you guys recognize that at all? Is that why you were still happy?
Yes, it's definitely it should be based on, like, how you feel that you did, but it's hard when you feel like you did a good routine and then you get like a 9.7 and you're like, oh, dang it, I wanted to get higher than that. So it definitely is hard. And when you get to the bigger meets, the judges might be looking for different things. They might like bigger skills, and that's what they're looking for. They're looking for form. So it kind of just depends on what the judges are looking for that day too. And so it definitely does, like, play a role in how we compete, because like we said, like I said, after bars, we didn't score that well in bars, and so we're like, okay, and we want to make this up. And so seeing that we're in last place after the first rotation, it was like, okay, it kind of motivated us.
And that's crazy too, because like Bears on Bars are top in the nation, right?
That was our event.
Yeah, that's crazy. Looking like on Twitter, I saw multiple things during the season, but I don't know if you noticed this or even thought about this, but you see big names competing in the SEC. And there's something where people were saying, like, hey, if these judges were scoring in the Pac-12, you'd have a lot of 10s going around.
Definitely.
So how do you feel about that?
You can definitely tell that there is a big difference in judging, and especially this year, there were so many 10s everywhere. And Twitter, they go crazy on Twitter. The Gymternet is crazy.
Gymternet.
The Gymternet. Yeah, they will catch the judges on that kind of stuff. But it does kind of suck, but also I feel like it makes us better when we do get to the big meets because we've been scored like hard all season, so we're prepared for it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Again, it's like for us, competing in the Pac-12 is like very hard, and we haven't really gone into postseason recently, but when we do, it's like, it's different. Obviously, it's still the postseason, but the competition isn't really as tough. Although we haven't really had that much success recently, it's different. I'd say it's like non-conference, but anyways, yeah, that was very interesting with the scores and how different it was. With what you mentioned, the Gymternet, you guys all have like fan accounts and things like that.
We do.
That's so interesting. What does that feel like?
It's pretty cool. It's it makes you think twice about what you're posting because people are always watching you and they could catch you doing something. So it definitely makes you think twice. And like some of the fans are like young girls and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool that you're like inspiring young gymnasts. And yeah, I actually got to meet one of my fans at the meet and took a picture with her and we gave her a shirt and stuff. And so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome that you guys get that opportunity to inspire a next generation, because for us it's like I could never see that happening, like for us having our own fans accounts and things like that. That's interesting. And I see you guys, like there's a Cal fan account and then specific, like I know you have your own fan account and other teammates as well, so I don't know, that must be awesome to see. It must be an awesome feeling.
It is pretty cool, yeah. At first we were like, who is this, like what? But it is really cool, yeah.
Do you reach out to them, or how does that happen?
No, she made it, and then she would, like, tag me and stuff, and I saw, and I always comment on her stuff, like, I think it's so cool, so, yeah, and then she has, like, a Twitter, she's, like, our biggest fan, and she always is, like, tweeting throughout the meet, like, about how we did and stuff, and then there's other, like, Gymternet accounts that also tweet, and some of them aren't very nice. They're not very nice. They're probably our biggest critics.
Oh, wow. Okay, and how do you take that? How do you deal with that?
You kind of just have to not look, like, or if you do see it, kind of just, like, let it go.
So your advice is to avoid it as much as possible?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. It's hard, though, when I open Twitter and it's all, like, gymnastics stuff and talking about gymnastics, which it's kind of interesting because they post, like, what other people are doing and, like, they were posting about nationals and stuff, so it's like kind of cool to like see them posting and like you can stay updated that way, but it's not fun when they're like tweeting not good things about you.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't relate to that, but it's crazy because you get comments where people are being very nice and maybe you want to read that, but then you get comments where they aren't, and you come to the conclusion, I think that then you'd rather just avoid everything, because if not, you just get ideas into your own head. Yeah. Even though it is a very nice connection with these girls that you are inspiring, but it's like, damn, like.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to decide.
Yeah. Wow. Well, finishing up this season, all Pac-12 first team all around, and the most impressive thing to me is the consistency, right? With your 15 top 3 finishes this season, 9 scores over 9.9. And then 49 out of 51 routines. This was a bit funny that it even showed it in the stat. It says that all around you went 34 out of 35, and it's your first miss on any routine after 30 consecutive meets of not missing anything. I think it says a lot about your consistency in your work and how much you take care of your body. You just mentioned that next year is your last season. The toll your body takes, again, is ridiculous. Even if you say, like, oh, you guys work a lot too. Guys still play pro after this, like there's a long career ahead. And for you guys, it's the end. So moving forward, how does it feel knowing that next season is after a lifetime of a sport that you've put in so many hours to? It's the end.
it's kind of sad. It's like an era's coming to an end. But I want to stay in the gymnastics world. I want to coach gymnastics one day, and so I think that'll be my way of kind of staying in touch with gymnastics after. Yeah.
And is there? I was having a very deep conversation with a friend this past week, and then it's like, knowing things are coming to an end makes you enjoy them more, I guess, or try things out that you usually wouldn't.
Yeah.
Obviously, your routine is set, but are there things that you think you'll just enjoy or try that you haven't in the past, knowing that it's the last chance to do so?
I don't know about gymnastics-wise if I'm gonna try anything different because I'm pretty like set in my ways, but I definitely I'm gonna try to enjoy each moment, like you said, because it is your last time doing it. And like it was sad at the senior meet because we were all pretty close with the seniors, and they all did so great at their last meet, and so that was great to see them end in Haas that way. They all did so good, and so it kind of like makes you realize, oh my gosh, it's coming soon. And so yeah, I definitely, I think I'm ready for the next chapter of my life, but you never know when you get there. It's gonna be sad. So
yeah, I'm sure it'll definitely be tough. We already talked about spinning and lift, but I wanted to ask you, like, how do you keep up with the high demand on your body in this sport? With treatment, I know you guys have a rule where if you aren't going to treatment, then you're 100% ready to compete.
Yeah.
And I also see, like, after meets, you're already iced up even before the meet has finished, like, once you are finished. So how much do you take care of your body and go into treatment, or is that not something you do too much?
No, I definitely go into treatment. I will wake up early to go into treatment because, like you said, like if you don't go to treatment, then you're 100% fine. So I do that, and then sometimes it's kind of nice to go after because then you have like the rest of the day to kind of rest your body after you got treatment on it. But I go to treatment probably like 4 times a week, and then we go in the ice baths sometimes if we're really hurting that day. We'll go in the ice baths, and just sleep and rest.
Interesting.
Interesting.
I mean, with all the swelling and all the soreness, the ice makes the most sense. But again, the consistency is very impressive, so I'm sure it has to do with that. Moving to a bit of a fun topic just to close things off. Take me through your pre-meet routine. I like to think about gymnastics as a sport that is also an art, right? Like I see, especially because of the choreography and the dance and the floor, but with how you guys, like with the importance that you give to the leotards and all the makeup and the hairs and like the way you prepare for that, I feel like it's an entire art.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I've noticed, like, with your team, you guys have got in the pre-meet routine of doing the TikToks and things like that. So take me through what pre-meet routine looks like.
I usually wake up, like, if it's a morning meet, I'll wake up, like, 2 hours before because, like you said, like, we have the hair, the makeup, everything. And, like, you're going to be on TV, so you want to look good on TV. So I'll wake up, I'll do my hair, and then I usually have breakfast, and then I do my makeup, and then we make TikToks in our Leos, and we take pictures. If we're at, like, a hotel, we'll kind of, like, go in each other's room and take pictures with each other and stuff. And then we have, like, a little snack before we go, and then you go and you show up to the meet, and at the meet we'll make TikToks, too, before. Sometimes they're silly, sometimes they're dancing ones, and then we practice for our 2 hours. I usually have, like, a snack in between, and then we'll do cheers, like, before we start. We'll do a little cheer, and then it's time to go.
That's so interesting. I feel like you guys, why do you think you do that?
Like the TikToks and the cheers and everything?
And everything, even the pictures. I hadn't thought about that, but I see, like, the meet peak pictures, whether it's here at home or away. So why do you think you guys do that?
We kind of just do it to document, like, our trips, I would say, because we're not really doing anything else besides gymnastics in school, and so, like, these are our highlights of our lives at the time during season, and so just to kind of, like, document the moments and share them. Yeah,
that makes sense. I was going to say, like, it definitely loosens you up as well. It must be. But yeah, the documenting the trip makes a lot of sense, and it's very nice. Actually, here a few weeks ago, Kyle Millis and Marcos Rico were from men's swim were here, and we talked about their YouTube because they're big on YouTube right now.
Okay.
And they basically did a day in the life videos, and they started blowing up, and they kept doing them. And I was telling them, like, I want to do that, and it's not because like I want to copy you guys, but when I see what they're posting, and it's like, wow, like, all these memories that they have, because it's one thing to have like the pictures or things like that, but even TikToks or their day in the life videos and things like that, it's like you remember what it was like in the moment, and I had never thought about that.
And watch it,
and I had never thought about it that way, but it makes a lot of sense and more memories to look back on for sure.
Yeah, and it's crazy to see how much stuff people do in a day. Especially student athletes. You wake up early, you do your treatment, you go to practice. There's so much stuff that people probably don't even think that goes into it.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't think that you guys wake up 2 hours earlier to do your hair and makeup and then have breakfast and then 2 hours of training and then TikToks in between. That's crazy, but I'm sure your coaches are used to it at this point as well. So
I don't know if they like our TikToks and our pictures and stuff, but we do it anyways.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the routine.
It is.
Well, to close off, in such a tough sport, and especially knowing that there is no pro career ahead, what keeps you going?
I would just say like graduating from here, and just like competing is probably the best part. And my team, they're awesome. I definitely wouldn't be able to get through without my team. Everyone's like funny and just they're so supportive. But yeah, I definitely look forward to graduating from like the #1 public university in the world. That's awesome. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for gymnastics. So it's kind of cool to like use my gymnastics to do that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Interesting. And last question, which is very fun in the gymternet, as you said. In an article, it came up that they asked you 3 words to describe yourself as a gymnast. In 2017, you said determined, confident, and leader. In 2016, you said tough, determined, and dedicated. In 2022, what would you say?
Oh my gosh. As a gymnast, you said?
Yes.
Okay, I would definitely say consistent, still determined. I'll keep that one in there. And consistent, determined. I would say a hard worker. Is that a good one?
I think it is. Yeah.
Okay,
I was just wondering how much has changed, but determined is still there. It was there twice and it's here a third time, but consistent, I think, is a good word. From what I know, the little I know, and from what I've seen, it makes a lot of sense.
Well, thank you. I think you know a lot. You've done your research on everything.
I try my best.
Yeah,
I try my best. If I'm going to have great guests on here, then I have to do a good job. So.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. Is there anything I missed or anything else?
I don't think so. I think that's it.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, sorry about whatever happened with the camera. I'm going to have to check that out. But thank you so much for accepting the invite, for being here. It was great getting to know you. I hope, I mean, it was the first time we've met and the first time we've talked. I am hoping it's not the last.
It definitely won't be. You're awesome.
Thank you. And I look forward to hopefully doing this again next year after watching you guys compete and watching you guys at Nationals.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And to everyone that watched on YouTube or listened on Spotify, thank you so much. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're on Spotify, please follow the podcast. That's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next episode.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Make sure to subscribe to my podcast and follow me on my personal social media accounts for more. All at Fer Andraez. All links are in the description. If this episode inspired you in any way, please help me out by sharing it with a friend to help them leave their dent in the universe as well. That's it for today. I'll see you all next time.